In the beginning, a planet primed for life. Picture, if you will, the early Earth. A fiery, volatile world still cooling from its formation. The surface was a molten landscape, constantly reshaped by the forces of nature. Volcanoes spewed molten rock and gases into a thin, toxic atmosphere. Oceans, still steaming, churned under constant bombardment from meteorites. These impacts brought not only destruction but also new materials from space, adding to the Earth's evolving chemistry. It was a hostile, unforgiving environment, a far cry from the serene blue planet we call home today. Yet within this chaos, the stage was being set for life. The very forces that made Earth seem inhospitable were also the catalysts for the birth of life. The very ingredients needed for life, water, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, and oxygen, were present, though not in their familiar forms. They swirled around in a primordial soup, energized by the sun's rays and volcanic heat. This mixture of elements and energy created a rich, dynamic environment where the building blocks of life could form. These simple elements, through a series of complex chemical reactions, began to form the building blocks of life. Amino acids, the precursors to proteins; nucleotides, the building blocks of DNA and RNA; and lipids, essential components of cell membranes. These molecules are the foundation of all living organisms, and their formation was a crucial step in the emergence of life. The exact details of how these building blocks came together to form the first living cells remain a mystery, a puzzle that scientists are still piecing together. But one thing is certain. Somewhere in that primordial soup, in a shallow sea or a volcanic vent, a remarkable event occurred. This event marked the transition from non-living chemistry to living biology. A spark of life ignited, a self-replicating molecule emerged, and life on Earth began its incredible journey. This molecule had the unique ability to make copies of itself, a fundamental property of life that allowed it to persist and evolve. This was no grand entrance, no sudden burst of complexity. The first life forms were incredibly simple, single-celled organisms, far simpler than the smallest bacteria alive today. These primitive cells were the pioneers of life, setting the stage for all future biological diversity. Yet they possessed the most essential characteristic of life, the ability to replicate, to make copies of themselves, passing on the spark of life to future generations. This replication was not perfect, leading to variations and mutations that drove the process of evolution, and so, in that ancient ocean, life took hold, a silent revolution that would forever change the face of our planet. Over millions of years, these simple organisms evolved, giving rise to the incredible diversity of life we see today. From the humblest beginnings, life on Earth embarked on a journey of endless possibilities. The spark of life, from non-living to living. The question of how life arose from non-living matter is one of the most fundamental and challenging questions in science. It touches on the very essence of what it means to be alive and how the complex web of life we see today could have started from mere chemical reactions. While we don't have all the answers, scientists have made remarkable progress in understanding the processes that might have been involved. Through meticulous experiments and innovative theories, they are piecing together the puzzle of life's origins. Imagine, if you will, a world without life, a world of simple chemicals interacting under the laws of physics and chemistry. This barren landscape, devoid of any living organisms, was the canvas upon which the masterpiece of life was painted. One leading theory proposes that life originated in hydrothermal vents, those underwater geysers found near volcanically active zones. These vents are like natural laboratories, where extreme conditions could have driven the chemical reactions necessary for life. These vents spew out hot, mineral-rich water, creating chemical gradients that could have provided the energy needed for the first life forms to emerge. The minerals and heat from these vents could have acted as catalysts, sparking the first steps towards life. Another theory suggests that life began in shallow pools of water on land, where cycles of wetting and drying could have concentrated the building blocks of life and facilitated the formation of complex molecules. These pools, with their fluctuating conditions, could have been the perfect breeding ground for life's precursors. Regardless of where it began, the transition from non-living to living was likely a gradual process, a series of small steps that led to increasingly complex systems. Each step built upon the previous one, slowly but surely leading to the intricate forms of life we see today. Perhaps the first step was the formation of self-replicating molecules such as RNA, which can both store genetic information and catalyze chemical reactions. These molecules were like the first blueprints of life, capable of making copies of themselves. Over time, these molecules may have become enclosed within simple membranes, forming the precursors to cells. These membranes provided a protective barrier, allowing the molecules inside to interact in a controlled environment. The emergence of these protocells marked a pivotal moment in the history of life. These early cells were the first to exhibit characteristics we associate with living organisms, such as metabolism and growth. Enclosed within their protective membranes, these primitive cells could create a stable internal environment, allowing for more complex biochemistry to develop. This stability was crucial for the evolution of more sophisticated life forms. They could harness energy from their surroundings, grow, and most importantly, replicate, passing on their genetic information to their offspring. This ability to reproduce was a key factor in the survival and evolution of early life. The stage was set for life to evolve and diversify. From these humble beginnings, life on Earth blossomed into the rich and varied tapestry we see today, with countless species adapting to every conceivable environment. The first inhabitants, single cells, ruled the world. These tiny yet mighty organisms were the pioneers of life on our planet, setting the stage for everything that followed. For billions of years, single-celled organisms were the sole inhabitants of Earth. They emerged in the primordial soup of our young planet, adapting to a variety of extreme conditions. These microscopic pioneers, invisible to the naked eye, were incredibly diverse in their metabolisms and lifestyles. Some could survive in boiling hot springs, while others thrived in icy waters or acidic environments. Some, like plants, harnessed the energy of sunlight through photosynthesis, releasing oxygen as a byproduct. This process not only sustained their own life, but also began to alter the atmosphere of the planet. Others thrived in the dark depths of the oceans, extracting energy from chemicals spewing from hydrothermal vents. These chemosynthetic organisms were the foundation of deep-sea ecosystems, supporting a variety of life forms. These early microbes, though simple in structure, played a crucial role in shaping the planet. Their metabolic activities influenced the chemical composition of the oceans and the atmosphere. They were the first to cycle nutrients, to break down organic matter, and to release oxygen into the atmosphere. This oxygenation was a turning point in Earth's history, enabling the development of more complex life forms. They transformed the Earth's chemistry, paving the way for the evolution of more complex life forms. Without these early microbial activities, the planet would have remained a barren, inhospitable place. One group of single-celled organisms, the cyanobacteria, played a particularly significant role in Earth's history. These organisms were among the first to perform oxygenic photosynthesis, a process that dramatically changed the planet. These photosynthetic bacteria, also known as blue-green algae, were responsible for the Great Oxidation Event, a dramatic increase in atmospheric oxygen levels that occurred around 2.4 billion years ago. This event was a major milestone in the history of life on Earth. This oxygen revolution had profound consequences for life on Earth, as it paved the way for the evolution of organisms that could breathe oxygen and extract energy from it. The rise in oxygen levels allowed for the development of more complex multicellular organisms. The world of these early microbes was a dynamic one, filled with competition and cooperation. They were constantly evolving, adapting to new challenges and finding innovative ways to survive. They exchanged genes, formed symbiotic relationships, and engaged in a constant struggle for resources. These interactions were crucial for their survival and evolution, leading to the development of new traits and capabilities. This microscopic world, though hidden from our view, was a hotbed of innovation and evolution, laying the groundwork for the incredible diversity of life that would follow. The legacy of these early single-celled organisms is still evident today, as they continue to play vital roles in ecosystems around the world. The oxygen revolution, a turning point in life's story. The rise of oxygen in Earth's atmosphere was a pivotal event in the history of life. Before the Great Oxidation Event, life was limited to anaerobic organisms, those that can survive and thrive in the absence of oxygen. Oxygen to these organisms was toxic, but the emergence of photosynthetic cyanobacteria changed everything. As these tiny organisms spread throughout the oceans, they released vast quantities of oxygen as a byproduct of photosynthesis. Initially, this oxygen reacted with iron and other elements in the oceans and rocks, but eventually it began to accumulate in the atmosphere. This had profound consequences for life on Earth. For one, oxygen is highly reactive, and its presence in the atmosphere led to the formation of the ozone layer, which shields Earth from harmful ultraviolet radiation from the sun. This made the surface of the Earth more hospitable to life, allowing organisms to venture out of the protective depths of the oceans and colonize land. But perhaps the most significant consequence of the oxygen revolution was the evolution of aerobic respiration, a far more efficient way to extract energy from food than anaerobic respiration. Organisms that could breathe oxygen had a distinct advantage, allowing them to grow larger, move faster, and diversify into new ecological niches. The stage was set for the evolution of complex multicellular life forms. The dawn of multicellular life, a new era in Earth's history. With the Great Oxidation Event behind us, the stage was set for an unprecedented leap in the complexity of life on Earth. The emergence of multicellular organisms marked a revolutionary chapter, forever altering the trajectory of life. Initially, life existed as single-celled organisms, each cell performing all the functions necessary for survival. But around 1.5 billion years ago, some of these cells began to cooperate, forming simple colonies. These early multicellular organisms were essentially clusters of identical cells working together. Over time, however, a remarkable transformation occurred. Cells within these colonies began to specialize, taking on distinct roles. This division of labor allowed for greater efficiency and complexity. Some cells focused on reproduction, while others took on roles such as nutrient absorption or structural support. This specialization led to the evolution of the first true multicellular organisms, the ancestors of all plants, animals, and fungi. The development of multicellularity opened up vast new possibilities for life. Larger organisms could now form, capable of moving, sensing their environment and interacting with it in more sophisticated ways. This led to an explosion of diversity as life forms adapted to fill a multitude of ecological niches. Among the earliest multicellular life forms were simple algae and fungi, but it wasn't long before more complex organisms appeared. The Cambrian explosion, around 541 million years ago, saw an extraordinary burst of evolutionary activity. In a relatively short period, a bewildering variety of complex life forms emerged, including the first animals with hard shells and exoskeletons. This period saw the rise of many of the major groups of animals we recognize today, including arthropods, mollusks, and early vertebrates. The evolution of multicellular life brought about new levels of interaction and interdependence among organisms. Ecosystems became more complex with intricate food webs and symbiotic relationships. Predation, competition, and cooperation drove the evolution of ever more sophisticated life forms. The emergence of multicellular life forms was a pivotal moment in the history of our planet. It set the stage for the rich tapestry of life we see today, from the tiniest microbe to the largest whale. Each organism, no matter how simple or complex, plays a role in the intricate web of life that sustains our planet. As we continue to explore the depths of Earth's history, we gain a greater appreciation for the incredible journey of life. From single cells to complex multicellular organisms, the story of life on Earth is a testament to the power of evolution and the resilience of living things. And as we look to the future, we are reminded of the endless possibilities that life holds and the profound impact that even the smallest changes can have on the course of evolution. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to the Space Dude channel.